Greetings. This is Paul the Poke from paulthepoke.com. Today's topic: Turkey sovereign systemic trouble. And this is something that was written by Michael Duville and myself, and he's a kind of my featured economic writer at paulthepoke.com. Guy really knows his stuff. He's a syndicated writer for the Wall Street Greek. And if you're interested in his stuff, there's a link provided right there. Click on that link. You can go to his website, check out his blog, and see some of his writings. He has a lot of good stuff. Now, the focus of this is going to be on Ezekiel 38, verses 1 through 3. And I'm not going to read all of this, but any folks who followed the blog in the past pretty much know my position. Meshech, Tubal, Beth Dagarma, Gomer. These are the brothers of Magog. And they appear to point to modern day Turkey. And as you guys know, Ezekiel 38 is a future invasion of Israel by Russia and friends, which include Turkey. Iran are the main players. Now, if you want more evidence pointing to modern day Turkey, see the link below. I've also written a post at godinanutshell.com, who are Meshech, Tubal, Gomer, Beth Dagarma. Click on that if you're interested. Getting to the guts, though, of what Michael has to say, the strategically important nation of Turkey is in trouble, big trouble. Turkey has threatened to invade Greece, has threatened Cyprus and oil explorers, ExxonMobil, Eni, and France's Total for exploring in the Mediterranean, going so far as to threaten to sink oil rigs and hydrocarbon survey ships before the U.S. Sixth Fleet intervened. Turkey has invaded Syria and attacked the Kurds in Iraq as recently as last June. And if you guys have been following current events over there in Syria, they continue to do this. They also continue to march south, along with Iran and Russia, towards Israel. Now, the government of Erdogan seems to be searching for an external enemy. It's classic diversion from an economic decline that may be inevitable. So Turkey is in trouble economically, as is its currency, the Turkish lira. It plummets in value, causing massive internal inflation as the prices of raw materials, energy, and of course food, gasoline skyrocket. A plummeting lira means more than just higher and higher prices for the populace. It means more lira are needed to pay back international loans denominated in U.S. dollars. So the lira has dropped close to almost 20% last Friday. And Turkey owes 240 billion US dollars. Now, if you guys are into charts, you can check out these charts that Michael has provided. You can see the downward trend of the lira over about the past 4 or 5 years. So, the bottom line, as the lira gets devalued, it makes repayment more and more difficult. U.S. dollar exchange reached a high of 6.43 lira to the dollar. Now, this is today. Now, this is as of August 13th. That got down to about 6, even dipped down to 5.99 for a little bit today, August 13th. And, adding this up from 6.43, it's a loss of 40% so far this year. Loan repayment has jumped 40% in just 8 months. So their debt has gone up 40%. The Turkish sovereign 10-year bond has hit a record of 20.67%. So that's how much money they're paying in interest. And at the beginning of the year, that was 11.5%. So here's again as a graph of the 10-year bond. So, to put this in our terms, so our interest rates on our homes are right around 4.5%. So if you're doing something in Turkey, you go to finance debt, it's going to cost you close to 22%, if not more. So that's crazy expensive cost of money to borrow money. Rising rates are a direct indicator of market risk. Mr. Market is stating Turkey will struggle to pay its debt. These loans are never repaid, just rolled over. 20% plus is definitely a danger zone. Turkey has defaulted and not paid its debt 5 times in the last 100 years. So this is nothing new for these folks. And a Turkish default will rock the global economy and hit the European banks particularly hard. I don't know if you're following this, but even the mainstream media is in on this, and they're talking about how, a global interconnected system is going to impact things. Even us here in the United States, our stock market was down about 100 points today over this. So Italian banks have been in the news recently, and not in a good way. 20% are reported to be struggling with solvency. Deutsche Bank of Germany has recently closed offices and furloughed 10,000 employees, and none can easily afford sovereign debt losses. So these are systemically important financial institutions. So these are big banks. These are like the glue for Europe. It's a big deal. And a Turkish default, or even the thought of default, should send shivers down your spine. So an authoritative ruler, that'd be Erdogan, has replaced the head of the central bank with his son-in-law, who is threatening neighboring nations, who is threatening the U.S., who has a crumbling domestic economy that is heavily debt-ridden, maybe looking for an excuse to blame others and not repay those who have wronged him. You do not talk nice enough and do not give us enough respect. You are so mean to us. We may not pay the money. We owe you, and it's your fault. So pay attention. This is what they're saying. Everything's connected. This will cause the U.S. dollar to get stronger, maybe even a lot stronger. So while we may get stronger here in the West and in the United States, that does not mean these folks in Europe and Turkey don't take a hit economically. And so I'll close with Ezekiel 38, verse 13. Sheba and Dedan and the merchants of Tarshish with all its villages will say to you, have you come to capture spoil? Have you assembled your company to seize plunder, to carry away silver and gold, to take away cattle and goods, to capture great spoil? Turkey's economy is struggling for the reasons stated above. Sanctions against Iran are taking their toll on their economy. The Iranian currency continues to get pummeled against the U.S. dollar. American economic sanctions against Russia are taking a bite out of their economy. Now, the prophet Ezekiel says Russia and its cohorts invade Israel for economic reason. And just remember, 5 times in Ezekiel 38:13, verbs of the verse indicate taking goods from Israel. So capture, spoil, seize, plunder, carry away, take away, capture. Says what it says. And with struggling economies of the modern day countries involved, Ezekiel's prophecy is making more sense every day. And remember, it's an economic issue. That's why they invade Israel. It has nothing to do with wanting to kick them out of their land. They want their wealth. And these 3 countries are struggling. Turkey's leading the way. So if you're interested, click over here, Ezekiel 38:39. You can follow articles going back 3-4 years or so as this thing has built and continues to build. Also, if you're interested in the blog, scroll up here to the right under the blue bar, click on the bar, and you can type in your email address and get a notification every time a new post goes out. I don't sell email addresses, so despite what some other social media sites are saying, it's not true. Lots of fun doing this with shadow banning, and they monkey with you, but that's part of the deal. So at any rate, appreciate you guys listening, and take care. Have a great evening. Bye.